For years, I didn't use my evenings very well at all. After a long day at university, I would come home and just collapse. I'd grab some sweets, find a TV series to binge watch, and before I knew it, the whole evening was gone. I'd sit there on the sofa telling myself I'd be productive tomorrow. But tomorrow came and the same thing happened again. For the longest time, I struggled to finish my doctoral thesis. I kept thinking I didn't have enough time or energy to do it after my long days. But then something changed. I became a mother. Suddenly, every minute felt precious. I couldn't waste time because simply I did not have time to waste. And that's when I finally learned how to use my evenings better. I actually finished my doctoral thesis after becoming a mother because I had to learn these skills. If you feel like your evenings just disappear or you plan to be productive but end up scrolling on your phone instead, let me show you some gentle and simple steps that can help you get your evenings back. First, we need to figure out what pulls us into time-wasting habits. What specific things lead you to unwind in ways that don't really help you? For me, it was the sofa. I learned that if I sat on that sofa after dinner, my productive evening was over. Done. Another trigger for me was scrolling through funny videos on Instagram while brushing my teeth. It seemed harmless, but it would start my brain looking for easy entertainment. And 2 hours later, I'd be tired, way past my bedtime, with all these images stuck in my head, making it really hard for me to settle down. So think about it. What are your triggers? The first step to changing any behavior is just seeing it clearly. Now that we know our triggers, we can change our environment to help us succeed. This tip has been huge for me. It's about understanding that your willpower gets used up during the day, but your environment stays the same. So instead of fighting temptation every single evening, we can set up our space to make good choices easier. After a long day, we are tired and drained. Our decision-making part of the brain is very weak. When we're in this state, we go on autopilot, and our environment controls that autopilot. If the remote is right there, if the phone is in your hand, if the sweets are in the cupboard, it's so easy to just give in. So sometimes we need to be a little radical about this. We decided to not have a TV in our home, because if the trigger isn't there, the habit can start. My kids aren't constantly reminded of the TV because there's no visual cue for it. For me, the temptation to just switch it on and disappear for hours is completely gone. I don't need any willpower to avoid watching TV because it's not even an option. I did the same thing with streaming services. I deleted my Netflix account. I had to ask myself some honest questions. What real value was this adding to my life? How did I feel after spending an evening binge watching a series? How did it affect my heart, mind, and thoughts? It's important to remember that these platforms, the streaming services, social media apps, snack companies, they are not neutral. They are designed by experts to keep us hooked. They use psychology and algorithms to create a kind of dependency. So, asking yourself, am I falling into a trap that I know is there, can be the first step to taking back your awareness and your time. As Muslims, I think we can also ask ourselves, would I be comfortable watching this content with my parents or someone I respect, a righteous person? Would it bring me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or would it take me away from peace and remembrance? This isn't about judging anyone else's decision, but about making sure that our environment matches our values. This affects our children too. They are so perceptive. They learn less from what we say and more from how we live. They see what takes the central place in our home. They notice what we turn to for comfort. Even if we think we're hiding our habits, eating sweets after they go to bed, or watching a show when they're asleep, they still absorb the energy of a home where these things are present. They learn that this is what grown-ups do to unwind. When we make different choices, we are silently teaching them a different way to live. So make the habits you don't want harder to do. Delete the apps. Cancel the subscriptions. Don't buy the sweets. Make your environment work for you and not against you. This is about building a home that supports your peace, your growth, and your connection with your family, yourself, and your creator. When you shape your space on purpose, you free up so much mental energy, and you give your tired evening self a clear, supportive path forward. There is a part of me that sometimes misses the long, uninterrupted stretches of time I had before having children. I could lose myself in an audiobook on a long walk, or spend an evening diving deep into a project. Life after children is different. It's full of interruptions. Beautiful interruptions, of course, but that doesn't matter that we have to give up on all the things that feed our minds and souls. And this is where one of my favorite strategies comes in, temptation bundling. It's a concept from behavioral science, but in practice, it just means pairing something you should do with something you love to do. For me, this looks like letting myself listen to my favorite YouTuber or an inspiring lecture while I'm folding laundry or cleaning up the kitchen after dinner. This way, the task I often drag my feet on becomes the gateway to the activity I really enjoy. After I put my kids to bed, two things often hit me at once: post-dinner tiredness and the sleepy, calm atmosphere from their room. My body and mind are at crossroads. One path leads to the sofa, where I know I will mindlessly scroll and feel my evening slip away. The other path, which feels much harder, is tackling the dishes and the mess. Temptation bundling helps build a bridge. Instead of thinking, oh, I have to do the dishes, I think I finally get to listen to the video now while I tidy up. It changes the whole core from a duty into an opportunity. This one small shift does two things. It gets me moving physically, which shakes off the post-dinner sluggishness, and it fills my mind with inspiring and useful content, which lifts my mood and prepares me for a more focused evening. It's a gentle way of outsmarting your own resistance. You're not forcing yourself to be productive, you're inviting yourself into a package deal where productivity comes wrapped in pleasure. And this strategy works for lots of things. Maybe for you it's only watching your favorite YouTuber while you're on the treadmill, or only enjoying that special fancy coffee while you're doing your taxes, paying bills, or writing your book. This gets even more powerful if you make the pairing exclusive. The treat only happens during the task. This creates a strong connection where your brain starts to look forward to the once dreaded task because it's linked to a genuine reward. So look at your evening. What task feels like a drag? What activity brings you real joy? And then just tie them together. Now let me tell you about a feeling we all know too well. You walk past the laundry basket and see a mountain of clothes that needs folding. Or you open your laptop and see the document for the course you're taking, or the book or the thesis you're writing just sitting there. And instantly this heavy feeling settles in your chest. You think something like, oh no, not tonight, it's too much, I can't. That feeling, being completely overwhelmed, is one of the biggest thieves of our evening time. We think we need huge blocks of energy and hours of free time to just start something, so we avoid the task altogether. We scroll on our phones instead, we tell ourselves we'll do it tomorrow or on the weekend, but the pile is still there tomorrow. A little bigger, feeling even more scary. But there is a way to trick that overwhelmed feeling. It's so simple it's almost silly, but it's based on how our minds actually work. When you see that mountain of laundry or that blank page, make a tiny deal with yourself. You don't have to climb the whole mountain at once. You just have to take 10 small steps. Set a timer on your phone for just 10 minutes. And then tell yourself, I'm only going to fold clothes for 10 minutes. That's all. I can stop when the timer rings. Why does this work so well? First, it completely gets around the resistance. 10 minutes feels doable. It doesn't scare your tired brain. Anyone can do 10 minutes. Second, and this is the important part, there's something called the Zeigarnik effect. Psychologists discovered that our brains really want to finish what we start. An unfinished task creates a kind of mental itch. When you start folding that laundry, you activate this itch. You will often find that once the 10 minutes are up, you've found rhythm. The mountain has a noticeable dent in it. And you might think, well, I might as well finish this little pile. Starting creates its own momentum. But let's be realistic. Some nights you're really exhausted. So when the timer goes off, you will stop. And that's still a huge win. Why? Because you're not facing the same mountain tomorrow. You've made a dent. You've taken some items off the top. That task now feels smaller, more manageable. You've proven to yourself that you can handle it in tiny, gentle pieces. This is exactly how I finally finished my doctoral thesis, after months or years of putting it off. I always thought I needed a big chunk of time to get started, but after having my first son, I realized that with a child, you might get a big chunk of time maybe once a month. So I had to change my thinking. Every time my newborn needed to be nursed or wanted a contact nap, instead of mindlessly scrolling on my phone, I committed to just a few minutes of writing. My thesis then started to lose its power to scare me. It suddenly seemed like something I could actually do. It doesn't matter what your big scary task is. The principle is the same. You're separating the decision to start from the pressure to finish. You're giving yourself permission to do a little and trusting that a little is always better than nothing. So tonight, when you feel that wave of "I can't," be kind to yourself. Don't argue with it. Just think, that's okay. We don't have to do it all. We just have to do 10 minutes. You will be amazed at how this one small change can start to give you your evenings back. There's a specific kind of tired I feel on some weekdays. It's not my body, it's more like a mental exhaustion from the endless stream of tiny decisions all day long. As a doctor, as a mother, patients, medical staff, my children, they're constantly asking me things. So decision fatigue can be a big problem. If you don't know what that means, it's when your willpower and your ability to make a good decision gets used up during the day. Our willpower is limited, and every little choice from what to wear to what to eat drains it. So I realized that if I wanted to have any peaceful, productive energy left for my family and myself in the evenings, I had to stop wasting my decision-making power on things that could be decided once and for all. That's where batching and automating comes in. Batching means grouping similar tasks together, like planning all your meals for the week at once, or answering all your emails in one sitting instead of throughout the day. It saves decision energy and keeps you from always feeling behind. Automating goes even further. Our biggest game changer has been automating our meals with a cooking machine. We can now simply choose our dinners for the week from its recipe app. The machine tells us exactly what ingredients and how much we need, and it even puts them in our grocery list in the app. This one device replaces a slow cooker, a blender, so it saves kitchen space too. But the best part is the mental freedom. I can search for recipes by ingredients I already have, or just pick from my favorites. The recipe database gets updated regularly, so we get all kinds of different cultural dishes and new ideas, which completely eliminates that daily what's for dinner stress. And the number one reason for me, I can start dinner and walk away. The food won't burn or overcook, so my mind is free for other things. I know it's a big investment, but I think it's worth it for the peace of mind you get. We also automate our shopping. If you're not already getting your groceries delivered, I'd really recommend it. It saves so much time and you're more likely to only buy things you actually need. Plus, we can check our fridge or pantry at the same time to see if we really need something. So we avoid buying things we already have and reduce waste. It's also easier to compare prices when you're choosing things online. And my last automation tip, we invested in a robot vacuum and wet mop. It runs almost every other night while we sleep, so we wake up to clean floors without ever thinking about it. All of this has cleared our evenings after work so much and made me less stressed and exhausted from having to make another unnecessary decision. My mom used to say something when I was a child and didn't want to eat. Der Appetit kommt beim Essen. Appetite comes with eating. I think this is a deep life lesson. We often wait to feel motivated before we act. We think, I will start when I feel less tired, or I will work on my project when I feel inspired. We treat our feelings like they have to come before any action. But the truth is, it often works the other way around. Action creates motivation. The scientific term for this is behavioral activation. Studies show that by taking a small action, we can actually create the feeling of motivation we were waiting for. Your brain is wired to follow your body's lead. When you act, even in a tiny way, you send a signal to your brain that says, this is important, send energy and focus here. So, how do we do this when we feel completely drained? It starts with being honest about how you feel. Don't fight the feeling or pretend it isn't there. Say it, I am tired, or I really feel frustrated right now. And then you add a but. I am tired, but I will just put away these 5 pieces of laundry. I feel overwhelmed, but I will just wash these 5 dishes in the sink. I can't focus now, but I will just listen to 5 minutes of that podcast. You're not ignoring your feelings. You're choosing not to let them have the final say. Putting away those 5 items often makes you want to put away 5 more. The feeling of a clean kitchen sink gives you a small spark of satisfaction. That 5-minute podcast might capture your interest. The action, no matter how small, starts to change how you feel. It creates a sense of accomplishment that can push back the fatigue. So tonight, when that heavy feeling settles in, don't wait for it to leave. Acknowledge it and then let your body lead the way. Do one tiny thing. Trust that the appetite for a productive evening will come after you take that first small bite. There is a common image of productivity that feels very harsh, all about grinding and pushing through exhaustion. But as women, that approach often drains us more than it fills us. It doesn't have to be that way. We can invite our gentler, creative energy, what some might call our feminine energy, to the process. So your productive time feels like a gift to yourself. Dedicated, peaceful time for your own growth and care. Your environment has a huge effect on your mindset. So before you begin, take a few moments to set the stage. Make yourself a warm drink, light a scented candle, put on soft, cozy clothes. Adjust the lighting in your space to be warm and inviting. I find the practice especially comforting during the darker, colder months of autumn and winter. It brings a feeling of hygge or hygge, the Danish concept of cozy contentment, into my pursuit of goals. When you do this, the task itself starts to feel different. You're not just getting things done, you're creating an experience of calm productivity. And the feeling you have afterwards is so much more fulfilling than the emptiness that can follow a night of binge watching another unnecessary TV show. If all of these tips help you so much that they change your evenings completely and get you into that flow state, creating the opposite problem of not wanting to stop, remember this. On those productive nights where you end up going to bed a little later than planned, be kind to yourself the next day. Make it a non-negotiable rule to go to bed early the following night to keep everything in balance. This ensures that this practice stays a sustainable source of joy and not another source of burnout. So there you have it. These small changes can help you reclaim your evenings, turning them from a time of exhaustion into a time of purpose. May your evenings be peaceful and productive, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.